Hey everybody, it's Lon.TV, and we are back with another sponsored video from Pulse. We've got Joe back once again. Hey Joe, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Tell me about Pulse. I go on the website and I need a phone fix because my phone gets smashed to bits, and what happens?
You just go on the website, put in a request for a repair, and a local technician will come out, be dispatched to you, and we will repair the phone right there on the spot.
And simple as that. They're less expensive than going to the manufacturer's store, for example, so you definitely will save a good amount of money right off the bat. We're going to save you a little bit more because we have a coupon code Lon.TV that you can use for $20 off your next repair. The parts that they use are centrally sourced, so Pulse is getting all of these parts from overseas. They're not cheap knockoff parts. They are really decent third-party parts for the iPhone here, at least, that look every bit as good as the original. We were very impressed with what we saw last month when Joe was out here. I'm very comfortable having them as a sponsor here on the channel, and I want to thank them for that. Now, Pulse is sponsoring this video, so this is a paid sponsorship. All the opinions you're about to hear are my own, but this video will be reviewed by Pulse before it is uploaded. So what we're going to do first here is we only have one pentalobe screwdriver here. So what we're going to do here is both unscrew our pentalobe screws. We're going to put this camera up in the ceiling to get a bird's eye view of this activity, and then we're just going to let it run, and we'll see how quickly Joe can fix the phone and how slowly I will attempt to fix the one I've got here. So, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, let's get to work on these pentalobe screws here, and hopefully I get this unscrewed properly. And once we get this done, we'll switch to the overhead view and carry forward. So I thought it might be fun to do a little voiceover and give you some of my thoughts about this whole process as we were going through with it. So I had watched Joe do a repair of the iPhone 6. We had that video we did a couple of weeks ago, which I can post down below in the video description. And what was interesting about that was it appears as though the iPhone 6 is probably the easiest of the phones that are current, at least from Apple, that you can repair because there's not a lot of glue or other adhesives and gaskets and that kind of thing. The 6S and above have some waterproofing or water resistance that makes the process a little more difficult. So it's pretty easy once you get those pentalobe screws off to get inside the phone and start working on it. Now, I did get a little help along the way here from Joe as I was doing some things with the phone here because I am still kind of a novice, although I did study up before the event, and I had a cheat sheet down on the floor as well. He was letting me cheat a little bit on this, but what struck me was just how fast he is at fixing these phones. He could probably do it in his sleep, and he was having some difficulties actually with the phone that Pulse gave him to repair. The frame was a little bent on it, which made things a little more difficult, and he was having some trouble with the screen getting it to work with that phone. So he actually did like 2 screen swaps here, as you can see. He took the screen out and then got another one out here. So he did a lot more than I did. I spent most of the time here struggling with the camera assembly as well as the earpiece assembly and all the other stuff that kind of goes in the front of the phone. There's like a light sensor and the earpiece, of course, and a few other things, including the front-facing camera. And I just could not get those pieces in. And I probably spent the better part of Joe's tinkering and finishing up just trying to get that one portion done. And what's funny about these phones is that you get a sense of confidence because they really are easy to get into, but it's very easy also to screw them up and permanently damage the phones. And that's something you should definitely be aware of. And I think for me, at least, I don't have a lot of time to fix a lot of phones. I'm not going to be fixing a lot of phones, and that's why I think calling in some professionals like Joe here from Pulse might be the best way to go. So it took him about 23 minutes to get all of this done, and I think he probably would have been done 10 minutes sooner if he didn't have all the trouble with the screen he had there. And here's the end.
And I'm done.
You're done. So I'm still stuck on this camera assembly here. And I should also mention here that in the course of me working on this, we found that there's an extra screw. We don't know where it actually is supposed to go, but Joe's going to figure that out.
Take off my glasses so I can see a little better.
Yeah. And by the way, Joe was working with a bum phone that had a little bit more wrong with it than just the basic problems. And not only that, he gave me his tools to use, and he was using some lousier tools. And his phone is working properly here. Mine hopefully will boot up. We did test the display while I was working on things, so I think once we get all the screws in, it should be good to go. But this is a process that I think if you don't do this on a regular basis, it will be a challenging one, as we saw in the first video. There's a lot of pitfalls that you can run into.
Yeah, there is definitely a little bend in the phone.
And this one had the same problem.
That one had a bigger bend.
Yeah. And it really depends on where the bend happens. And I guess the iPhone 6 is probably the most susceptible to this. The metal is the weakest.
6 and mainly the 6 Plus.
Okay, the 6 Plus is
But I have seen 6s bending.
Right. But it looks like, hey, you know, for the most part, this phone seems to work here. So the the camera. Let me flip it around to the other camera here. So my selfie camera works. I got that right. So that was good. I'm assuming the microphones work. I can do my audio check on it and see. What is it? The audio note? What do they call
Use
it?
a voice recorder.
Voice recorder. So let's do a quick
memo.
voice memo. And I'll just do a test. So I'm seeing waveform on here. So
we got a good microphone working. And then the last thing you're going to do is you're going to play back. Test. Bottom speaker works.
Yep.
Press the little speaker icon
Right,
up here.
there. Yep.
And then test. Oops. Earpiece, and that works too.
Good. So
And
I would say, I did about 75% of the work, and the phone is still functioning.
The only thing seems to not be working is
was the sensor. Huh?
Yeah, the sensor for that you normally would cover up.
Yeah.
That is not working.
Okay.
So that might have gotten
Knocked
damaged
out,
or
knocked off. Maybe I didn't put it back on correctly.
Didn't sit in there correctly.
Right.
But other than that, phone works. Phone works good.
Excellent. Well, I think I'm going to leave this to the professionals. So, Joe, thanks again for coming down. Really appreciate it. And it was kind of fun to try. I was watching you, trying to live vicariously through you last time. So it was fun to actually get my hands on it and really try to make it work. So cool. Well, I think we're going to be good for this. I'm not going to do this ever again. I probably won't get hired as a Pulse technician, but I think we'll definitely probably have you back on. We've got questions like this for things because these phones are easy screwdrivers and that kind of thing, but something else like an iPad needs heating pads?
You need heating pads, and you have to be especially careful when you're doing from the Air 2 and up, because at that point the glass and the LCD are fused together. And if the LCD isn't damaged and just the glass, you want to make sure you can get in there and save that LCD so you can ship that back and get a credit for that.
Oh, wow, okay.
Otherwise, if that gets cracked and you are out that extra money.
So these things are not easy to repair.
They're not.
So that's good to know. And Pulse again, Pulse.com. You can save yourself $20 by working on it through them, not yourself. And I think that's probably the better way to go. Use that coupon code Lon.TV. I want to thank Joe again for coming back down. And we got 2 working phones again. So we'll see you next time.
This channel is brought to you by my Patreon supporters, including gold level supporters, the Black Eyed and Blues Music Hour podcast, Chris Allegretta, John Prawl, William Miller, and Kalyan Kumar. If you want to help the channel, you can by contributing as little as $1 a month. Head over to Lon.TV/Patreon to learn more. And don't forget to subscribe. Visit Lon.TV/S.